Amigos, me encuentro esta tarde en el Hotel Barceló, aquí en Reforma, en la Ciudad de México, en el evento Perform Go, organizado por Dynatrace, y estoy con Rob Jahn. ¿Is that the right pronunciation?
That is right. Yes, sí.
Quien nos va a estar hablando sobre un tema muy importante que para mí es nuevo, pero que involucra inteligencia artificial y sobre todo el eliminar a las personas, no del todo, pero sí el dejar las operaciones de un negocio, de una aplicación en específico, en manos de un sistema. Rob, thank you so much for your time. We just finished your keynote, and I am so thrilled about what NoOps means. What is the great innovation in it?
Right. Yeah. Well, so NoOps is really what we're seeing is the next generation of IT operations, moving away from manual operations into a completely automated environment, which we call NoOps. So it's really not eliminating the operations staff that are out there. It's really redirecting what they do to add more business value to what they're doing, as opposed to the current tasks that they do currently today.
So we are moving from DevOps to NoOps. What happened with the people who doesn't even work in DevOps?
Right. So really, NoOps is encompassing both the delivery of software, which is really what DevOps is about, is building automation to deliver software. But the operation side is once it's in production, once it is running and operating, we also want to automate that. So really, NoOps is encompassing the full life cycle from software being delivered to it actually operating in a production environment.
What is it needed to work with NoOps? I mean, in terms of structure, team, monitoring, what do you need? Which are the requirements?
Right. So really, a couple things have to take place. So what's really driving, I'll step back a little bit. What's driving the need for this is we have an increasingly complex environment. We have increasing number of servers and processes that we're doing. We're also moving rapidly into the cloud, which is adding more services, more compute resources, and just expanding at an ever increasing rate. So the ability for doing things in the traditional way, looking at log files, manually performing installations, manually triaging problems, just can't scale. So you cannot hire enough talent or people to keep up with the ever-growing needs that are out there for IT departments. So what we have to move towards is automation. Doing things that people do now, but then automating that and having it done in a repeatable way, and that's really what is the building block. So one, it's putting things that will deliver the software in place, being able to monitor the software as it's being done there, and then also automating all of these run books and activities that are people doing to remediate problems. So all three categories all have to be kind of transformed.
So right now the process is being monitored by humans.
Right.
And sorry.
Oh yeah. So the process is either not being monitored, or it may be monitored by multiple tools. So that kind of adds some of the complexity. So we may have, a database being monitored by one group, a web server being monitored by another team, an app server being monitored by another group. The what's happening with the users and what they're experiencing on their mobile app can be another team. So part of it is there are a lot of monitoring tools, but they're all disparate. Everyone is working in silos on their little piece of the puzzle. And so what we're trying to do, so one of the foundational things is everyone needs to be seeing the whole platform as a whole, and you need a monitoring tool that can see and integrate all of those transactions and all of those processing and kind of in a single view and being able to tie it all together. So that's kind of a foundational element of this.
Do you have idea how much money would it need to have this amount of eyes on the operation of an application, a software? What you're
Well, it's just like technologies are evolving, the ability to monitor things, those technologies are also evolving. So again, coming from a Dynatrace, we made a major investment to completely rewrite our entire platform to be ready for this type of environment, cloud environments, ever-growing environments, and having the ability to analyze data real time through AI to be able to support what's happening.
Because it's not only about monitoring, but detecting the problem and having a resilience time, a record resilience time, right?
Right. So it's really, by having a new platform that can see all the pieces together and automatically tie things together is really what saves time. So in order to detect a problem, so if a user calls in and says, hey, my website's slow, traditionally, that may be multiple teams that have to get involved, multiple tools that have to be analyzed, correlating things together, forming a big conference call or war room of people trying to triage this particular problem, and that's very expensive. And so if the problem really is, I'll just make this up, it's a database problem that bubbles up to the end user, the fix could just be, restart your database and problem goes away. But if in the traditional way, if we had to get all these people together, everyone analyzing, looking at all their tools, that is time and money. And so by having a platform that can monitor things, automatically use AI to detect what's happening, you're now shrinking down how long do I find the problem, but then I only engage the people that I need to actually fix it. And that saves time and money.
Do you think that, do you have any source of knowledge to solve these problems more quickly?
Right, so really, so Dynatrace has been in the application performance management space for over 15 years. So there's tremendous amount of just real world experience helping customers knowing typical problem patterns. So we have a wealth of knowledge of typical things that go wrong with applications, whether it's round tripping problems, multiple calls, threading problems, database problems, and a lot of those root causes we've now built into our AI engine. So our AI engine is looking for problems that are typically found in environments, and it can immediately take that knowledge and find the problem more quickly than just looking at log files or looking at dashboards manually. So that's really the power, is taking all the knowledge that people have and have been doing manually and putting it into a tool. So really, AI is, in this NoOps mindset that we're talking about, is taking all of this expertise and letting a machine do it. So, and there's nothing wrong with that, so it's really, because for people to do it manually, that's where we can't scale, that's where it's expensive. So let that knowledge be done and encapsulated inside of a tool to do that for you.
So as Halloween is very close, I have to ask you some terror question, but is it taking away the work of people? I mean, is it? It's not it's a problem for the humans.
It's not a problem killer. Okay. No, it's definitely not a problem killer. Okay. So all I could say is, it's really, if you look at what people are doing, in terms of IT, operations staff, what are they doing now? What is their day-to-day job? Oftentimes it's looking at dashboards, yes, drilling into problems, looking at logs. It's very mundane, repetitive work. It's important because there's no other, there hasn't been another solution. So much of the time is about deploying code, looking at problems, and that's it. So if we can take all of that work, automate that, let a machine do it, now they can do other things. Now, so it's that same one engineer that may have been able to support 500 applications, now can support 5,000 applications. And we've seen that within Dynatrace. So we've really, we've grown with our platform to, we've grown in our operations staff to now support thousands of clusters, thousands of customers on a SaaS product or software as a service platform. And our team really proportionally hasn't grown. So we've probably 100-fold grown the number of compute resources and servers we're customering with a very small team, because that team now, instead of manually doing all this work, they're now building the tools and the platform and the integrations to make the automation happen. So it's really shifting from doing the work to enabling the framework and the integrations and the automation to make it run itself.
So no jobs will be lost.
No jobs.
It will enhance the position.
The one thing I will say is, I guess the risk is, if you're an organization that doesn't make this change, you are at risk, because there are companies that are. So when you look at the competition, so there are companies, and you can think of the major airlines, the Ubers, the pizza delivery companies, major financial services. What are they doing? If those companies are embracing change and putting this automation in place, they're able to do two things. So one, from a business standpoint, I'm able to deliver code faster. I can deliver more features faster. I can also remediate my problems faster, so there's less user impact when there is a problem. So if I can do those things, I have more satisfied customers, I'm adding more business value. So the companies that are embracing those changes and can deliver those, they're going to beat out the other people. So if you're in an organization that's not embracing this change, you are at risk, because the next company is going to do it faster, stronger, cheaper, and have more satisfied customers, and your customers won't be there anymore. And as a result, you won't be there anymore. Yeah. So that is the risk. So there is a real risk there. So Opportunity and a risk.
How much time do you think it's going to take to that NoOps is popular or?
Well, it's a mantra. It's a philosophy. It's a way of thinking. So it's really, I want to. If I do something more than once, it needs to be automated. So it's really a mindset to say,
Wow,
if I'm doing this
okay.
manually, or I see the same person doing the same thing, that's an opportunity to automate it and get rid of that human being doing it. So
you only have to do something once.
Right, and then there'll be another problem. So I don't think the problem ever goes away. So I don't think there is a state of perfect NoOps, because there will be other business changes. For example, you have your system in place, your company buys another company. Now that their company may not be up to date, so now you have to integrate those together. So there's always constantly going to be work and improvements that need to be made. You may shift from an on-premise, you're moving to the cloud. A lot of people are moving into the cloud technologies. Some people are moving into a multi-cloud strategy. So I may have a Google and an Amazon and an Azure.
And the
so
hybrid.
So then I have to make all that work. So I think that there is an infinite amount of work, but you have to be adding business value, and you have to be embracing this change. And for those that aren't, you're going to be beaten out.
Okay. Is NoOps helping in cybersecurity strategies?
I would say yes. I mean, I think the approach of taking the things that people do manually, whether it's deploying the code, analyzing problems, looking at security threats, analyzing security incidents, if all that can be automated, then more coverage is possible, and that applies definitely to security. So if I can automatically be monitoring my environment, automatically perform an operation, so say a denial of service attack, for example. If I could detect that change, automatically run the scripts that shut down a firewall, open up all my service tickets so that people are aware of it, I'm auditing all this. If all that can be automated, that's what we want. That's what we want. That's what we want. So it's really kind of looking at what are organizations doing now, and trying to simplify and try to make this faster. So if there's 10 different groups involved in making a change happen, there's 57 approval processes, 27 systems that are going to go, it's really about shrinking that down into less steps, more automation, and hardening in those steps. So if someone is just looking at a dashboard for 2 metrics and that's all they do, and they rubber stamp it, then automate that. And then if there's an exception, raise an exception, someone looks at the exception. They don't just look at it for the sake of looking at it.
Because that is becoming like a vice for the people of cybersecurity. Just seeing the monitors, and if nothing happens,
right.
They feel secure.
Right.
But they are not
right.
seeing like the main gate or
right.
other things that can be
right.
or
so
represent a risk.
Absolutely. Yes. So it is a change. You have to embrace the change, because yes. We're now trusting the machines. So people have a lot of comfort in looking at their logs, looking at their dashboard. And so there's trust, it has to be proven, but you now need to trust the AI algorithms that they're doing their job properly. And if you do, and they do the right job, then a lot of these things that people have their trust in go away. So we see a lot of customers eliminating these operations rooms where there's lots of dashboards and monitors all over the place, and people just looking for blinking red lights. Just do your job, and if the AI engine says there's a problem, there's a problem.
Like computers,
Exactly.
A computer used to be a room.
Right. So instead of just looking at the screen, build more capabilities, integrate more systems, add more business value. So that's the change. So just don't be looking at your dashboard. Let the computer look at the dashboard. You learn the programming and the integrations to make that in an automated way, and that's really what NoOps is all about.
Where the people can find more information about NoOps and probably contact you, or?
Right. So within Dynatrace, I work in the innovation lab, and so you can see my T-shirt. So we have a website, captain.sh. And so this is an open source project that we're working on that really is a reference implementation built on Kubernetes. Kubernetes is a kind of a hot topic in containers. And so we built a platform that shows how autonomous operations, automated software delivery, self-healing of applications work in real life. So you can download it, you can try it, you can see all the concepts in action. So that's one source of information.
That's amazing.
Right. And then, many of your tools vendors really be looking for, vendors like a Dynatrace that have APIs. So APIs make integration happen. And so if your vendor is a legacy product, an older product, something that's a company that's not future looking, where I can't do configuration through an API, I can't do queries through an API, I can't put data in there, I can't integrate it into other systems, that's not a tool you want to be looking at. So look at the leading vendors in the service management space, the configuration as code space. All the cloud providers have APIs and automation capabilities, and it's really kind of, look for those types of things, and then look for reference implementations like a Captain to see how do you piece those all together.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the interview, and please send some comments and questions. I will send it to him.
Thank you so much.
And I hope they can work with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.